Some think that membership means little or nothing, that it's not really important, but it is. Some have become church hoppers, so if the music is too soft or too loud, and you could have experienced both this morning, right? But if the music is too soft or if the music is too loud, well, I'm going to leave and go and find some place that's better for me. As in any church or any group, some people are givers and some are takers. So having said that, let me add this. There are times that it is perfectly reasonable to leave a church. I've been a pastor in several churches. That means I had to leave some. And I haven't stayed in every church forever, although I've had some long times at some. Was at one church for 9 years and another at 15. But there were other churches that I was only there for a short period of time, so 3 years. So I'm not talking about, when I say church hoppers, I'm not talking about those reasons. I'm talking about the fickleness of some who think that the church just exists for them. But if there was ever a day when Christians need to know what they believe about church, it's today. So I want to raise this question as a starting point. Who is the master of the church? And please notice I didn't say the pastor. I said who is the master. The master is not the pastor. Okay? The master is not the pastor. I know who the master is, and it isn't me. There is no David Jeremiah's church. There's no Rick Warren's church. The church belongs to Jesus Christ. FBC, by the way, is not your church. It's where you attend, it's where you're a member, it's where you worship, but it's his church. He is the master of the church. In fact, the Bible calls him the head in Colossians 1:18. He is also the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning. He is the firstborn from the dead, so that he might come to have first place in everything. So, who's the master of the church? Jesus Christ. He is the founder, the head, the master, the Lord. The church is comprised of those who he has redeemed or purchased with his blood. So he bought us. He bought the church. The church exists for him. And without Jesus, there is no church. Amen. But he also not only is the master, but he's the foundation. 1 Corinthians 3:11 says, no one can lay any other foundation than what has been laid, that is, Jesus Christ. Now, I know you know this already, but before I studied for the ministry, I was a cement finisher. I built foundations. I built foundations for single-family homes. I have built foundations for 1 million square foot buildings. I've built foundations for large stores like Home Depot or Lowe's. So I know what a foundation is. And the foundation is what holds up the entire building. Without a sure foundation, the whole thing is going to crumble. So it's important that we have the right foundation. And if the foundation of the local church isn't Jesus, it's going to collapse too, eventually. There's no other foundation, the Bible tells us, for the church but Jesus. But he is also the chief cornerstone. Paul clearly says Jesus is the foundation. By the way, he does include in Ephesians that the apostles and prophets are part of that foundation, but then goes on to say this: Jesus is the chief cornerstone, built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, with Christ Jesus himself as the chief cornerstone. So the most important building in a church or any structure is that chief cornerstone. That's what determines the right corner, the right height. It sets the standard for the rest of the foundation.